remember we saw remember when we watched these two videos over the course of a couple days about the gentleman who went on the Zoom call for court for the driving while suspended thing. And the judge ordered him thrown in jail. And then the next video Charlie did, he said, well, actually, he wasn't suspended. His license was never suspended. He should have never been arrested in the first place, and he should have never been put in jail and have his bond revoked the second time. And both Charlie and I both admitted we were wrong with what happened. Apparently, there is a part 3 to this story. And I haven't watched it because I'm trying to go into this blind. But based on just this still shot that I'm seeing, this is gonna get interesting. Viral Zoom driver was never licensed. So this is gonna get interesting, I think. I've really been looking forward to seeing this. Because now we are into part 3. We are now into part 3 of this little drama, court drama, and I can't wait to see where this goes. So, let's do this. I'm trying something new with my reacts now. The volume, let me know if the video volume is okay or if it needs to come up a little bit. Because I make commentary. I do commentary while the video is playing instead of having to pause it every 5 seconds. So, let's check this out, Charlie. I can't wait to hear what's going on here. So let's do this.
There is an update to the Corey Harris case here. The Zoom court hearing where he was driving with a suspended license. The judge was stunned, he even made this face right here, which is a really, really good face that he's making. It kind of reminds me of 007 characters.
I
like
don't
the
remember
bad
this
guys,
though. This must
when
be
you like
something
zoom
new.
in on their face after they get shot. So the story started with him going to the Zoom court hearing while driving. The judge is like, I might be misunderstanding something here. Someone help me out. Am I off my gourd right now? He's driving, and he has a suspended license. There's a
Yes, sir?
suspended license case, and
Yes,
he's
sir.
driving on the Zoom call, and he just goes, "Yep, that's correct, Your Honor." So then he ended up turning himself in. He was released 2 days later, like after spending 2 days in jail. Turns out his license suspension was rescinded 2 years ago. So he should have been able to drive, no problem. It shouldn't have been an issue at all. So that was the update to it. And then today, I saw this when we finished cryptid hunting. I saw that there was another update to this where apparently he never had a license, which I haven't really
Like,
looked
at
into
all?
yet. I'm going to learn together with everybody. But it makes me wonder how the fuck can the system be this disheveled, broken, and dog shit that not only did he not have a license, but somehow they suspended an imaginary license, rescinded the suspension on an imaginary license, then went back, double checked the suspended rescission or rescinding, and gave that the green light, gave that the stamp of approval when it never existed in the fucking first place. It's like a huffalump. Like, that makes no
Yeah,
sense. Like, how is there not a paper trail for a license?
I was literally just about to say, this sounds like some crazy ass Dr. Seuss insanity going on right now. The fact that there is an existing paper trail for a license that never even existed in the first place shows, I mean, what the fuck is going on with the Michigan Secretary of State's office? Because I'm guessing this is primarily on their doorstep. The Michigan Secretary of State's office is the one that's responsible for all of his driver's license stuff. What the fuck is going on?
So let's learn together how this has all unfolded. On May 15th, Michigan man named Corey Harris showed up to virtual court hearing behind the wheel of his car. All right, this is just going to be the setting the stage, the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, here. Things got even stranger at a Wednesday hearing, which began with Judge J. Cedric Simpson revealing that Harris has in fact never had a driver's license and ended with the defendant being taken into custody. Simpson opened the hearing by saying he wanted to make sure the record was clear. Based upon what the court has looked at, he has never had a Michigan license ever. And he has never had a license in the other 49 states and commonwealths that form up this great union. He has never had a license.
How
The
did he
judge
know
went on
this?
to untangle the confusion, explaining that it had not been Harris's license that had been suspended last October in Pittsfield Township, but rather his privilege to drive in the state. Hence, for example, if he had a Kentucky license, he would be able to drive everywhere that Kentucky would allow him to drive. He just couldn't drive in Michigan because his privileges had been restricted. In fact,
Okay, this is sounding like some really screwed up, complicated, bureaucratic bullshit. His privilege to drive in the state. Like, what even is that? For example, if he had a Kentucky license, he would be able to drive anywhere that Kentucky allows him to drive. But you still need to have a driver's license to do that. And what's confusing me here is just because you have a driver's license in one state does not mean you are prohibited from driving in another state under your originating state's license. So I don't understand what this is. I may have to look at this afterwards, but this is not making any sense. This terminology is not making any sense to me.
in fact, Harris apparently knew this. Prosecutor Conrad Siller said during the Wednesday hearing that police body camera footage showed Harris acknowledging at least twice to the officer who pulled him over that he didn't have a valid license. Jesus Christ. This is a lot to process.
Charlie got to take a swig on this one. I'm guessing he's wishing that was alcohol.
As to how the court figured it out, Simpson explained that his office had gone back through Harris's records, finding that he had applied for his first Michigan photo ID on May 3rd, 1999 at the age of 19. Counsel knows, and so do I, you cannot have both. Either you have an ID or you have a license. And he has religiously every year gotten a new ID. And so he knows that he doesn't have a license. And quite frankly, I just wish he would have said that at the beginning and all this hoopla could have just been put all aside.
Well, he didn't want to go to
Brother,
jail.
Your Honor, Simpson just dropped a hoopla. A cold hoopla in
Well,
court right there.
At least it wasn't
What
shenanigans.
a
If it was
fucking
shenanigans, we'd be in
statement.
realness.
This guy said, I've had enough of this. It's time to end it. I didn't invent hoopla. He didn't steal my word. I haven't trademarked that. It's not copyrighted. He got like I got it from SpongeBob. Hoopla, hoopla, hoopla. That shit.
Ah,
How did his lawyers not know that? Because it seems like Judge Simpson was.
okay, I can easily answer this one. His lawyers didn't know it because I'm guessing he probably had a public defender. That would be my guess, is he may have had a public defender. Probably couldn't afford a lawyer, so he had the public defender's office. And a lawyer may not dig that far back into it because if the issue was only he was driving while suspended, and if he tells the lawyer, I was not suspended at the time, and there's an actual paper trail to substantiate this, where that this suspension was lifted, the lawyer's gonna see that and go, job done. They're not gonna dig like apparently this judge decided to do, because it looks like this judge this judge decided to dig into this. Well, yeah, well, especially because it says here that where did it say? Where'd it go? That Harris acknowledged at least twice to the officer who pulled him over that he didn't have a valid license. So I'm going to go out on a guess and say Harris knew this and tried to pull a fast one. Because maybe he knew about this craziness that happened with the suspension being lifted, and maybe he thought he was going to pull a fast one and try and trick the court. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. That's the only thing I can think of why he did what he did. Is because this is so twisted and complicated. He may have been counting on it being that twisted and complicated to get him out of the jam house. But it still doesn't. I mean, so was the recension order for his ability to drive? I mean, is that what the lifted? Was that what the recension was? Is that they rescinded the order for his ability to drive, and maybe that would allow him to apply for a license, perhaps? Maybe that's what it is. Like like Lisa, I'm gonna have to look that up after we finish this video to see just what the hell it is, because that's a phrase a phrasing that I've never heard before when it comes to driving. There's learner's permits, there's state ID cards, there's learner's permits, and then there's the varying driver's license. I've never heard of like the ability to drive, quote unquote, thing. So that's something I'm totally unfamiliar with.
Really tired of the circus that followed this Zoom court meeting or hearing. And it's like, oh, fuck it, I'll do it myself. We'll do it live. I
That,
can't
that
trust anyone. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So he went into the trenches, combed through all the paperwork manually, and got to the bottom of it.
that's a
Like I
base
said,
judge right there.
anytime you deal with
Base
anything
judge.
even tangentially related to the government, I have learned it is a fucking disaster.
Yep.
I don't know how the country functions in any semblance of the word with the people that are in these government positions. They do not. They refuse to do their jobs. Straight up refuse to.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
It's
do.
laughable.
100%, Charlie. I'm with you. Yeah, and then he's saying this. It has literally been pure hell. I've been insulted, I've been followed, I've been laughed at, I've been ridiculed, I've been disrespected. I don't agree with the assaulted part, but laughed at,
That's why
ridiculed,
I don't believe in
disrespected.
government conspiracies. They're too
Look at what you
incompetent.
did, dude. What do you expect?
Hey, checkmate. That's a good point, actually. That is a really good point. They can't even figure out whether or not someone has a license, and they act based off of just imaginary dreams that they had about this this license. Yet somehow they're gonna have these grand conspiracies about fucking 5G towers rewriting your DNA and injecting COVID into your cockhole or whatever. After after Harris' disastrous pretrial hearing on May 15th, Simpson revoked his bond and ordered him to turn himself in to the
Right?
county jail that evening, where he spent 2 nights. 2 weeks
Wonder if he
later,
went back
shortly
to
after
jail
Harris
after
went
this.
viral, ABC affiliate WXYZ. Man, I've actually never read that out loud. I usually just brush over that because I don't feel like saying it all. Man, that's super stupid. ABC affiliate WXYZ. It's trash.
It's the
I hate that
alphabet
branding.
station.
Reported that his suspension, which was tied to a child support case, had actually been lifted by a judge in 2022. It has literally been pure hell. I've been assaulted, I've been followed, I've been laughed at, I've been ridiculed, I have been disrespected, Harris told of the situation. He's been assaulted. Jesus Christ. Like in jail, maybe?
Like the assaulted
Have
part, I
random
don't
people
agree
on
with,
the street just been
obviously, but
accosting this man? That's terrible.
but being laughed at and ridiculed, I mean, look at what you did. What do you expect?
The report shed light on the seeming thicket of bureaucratic incompetence that had led to the wrongful citation. In order to see his driving record wiped clean, Harris was supposed to have paid a $125 fee to the Saginaw County Court Clerk's office, which would have allowed the court to send a notice of clearance to the Michigan Secretary of State's office, which oversees regulation of the state's motor vehicles. Harris
Okay.
pointed the finger at Saginaw County Friend of the Court, an office that assists court administrators. They're supposed to have lifted it 2 years ago, but they didn't always double check. Yeah. That's what he
Which,
said.
okay,
Like, they just
that's from
don't
the
do
other
what they're
story.
supposed to. This is once again just kind of like a recap of like the previous
Yep.
update. Simpson defended his sister court on Wednesday, saying that the Saginaw County friend of the court had done nothing wrong. His driving
Eh,
privileges were unsuspended in 2022. That required Mr. Harris to do something. He didn't do it. Therefore, the friend of the court was under no obligation to send anything to the Secretary of State. Wait, but he never had a license. Like, this
Yeah.
shouldn't have even. They had nothing to unsuspend. He never had a driver's license. Like, I need to look up driving privileges. Is there paperwork for driving privileges? Like, is that a totally
Oh,
separate filing?
so they're saying that what I think this is trying to say is he had to pay that $120 fee to the court, and once he had done that, the court would have notified the Secretary of State's office to lift the suspension on his driving privileges, which again is not a license. It is he has the privilege to drive, which, if I'm gonna guess, means that he is able to apply for a license. Maybe without needing to take a road test. I don't know. Kaboom, I don't know. I've been considering it. Um, I'm kind of waiting to see how things go, with the stream, with the channel. Uh, because if there's, obviously, if I start getting a lot of people in the channel, then I'm not gonna want to have people like posting me links and stuff to check out in the channel all stream, and I'll want to have the Discord set up at that point. But right now, I think I've capped at like 6 or 7 views at any given time. So it's not like the channel's busy with a lot of people talking where I have to keep track of it, and people posting links into it for me to watch could be distracting. So maybe in the future, as the channel grows, yes, I may set up a Discord as the channel grows. For right now, the way it's operating is fine. Ah, well, I mean, I do have I do have my Twitter, so if there's something you think I might be interested, I do have that. You can always you know hit me up on Twitter with it, and I'll see it. Uh it's just at present time, I don't have the Discord set up. Maybe I'll set it up in the future. Maybe I'll look into it this weekend, and I'm playing it a little bit by ear. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing.
Because I feel like he's just making that shit up right now. Like, that's something my parents would have made up in order to get me to eat my vegetables or do chores or something. I've never heard of that. Yeah, let's see. I'll do it on my phone real quick. It'll be faster.
Do what on your phone, Charlie? I missed it.
What is driving privileges? I'll do like court.
Cool. Charlie's doing look up for me. Perfect.
Well, I dreadfully misspelled that. I typed in privileges. So that didn't work. Hold on. A limited driving privilege is a judgment issued in the discretion of a court for good cause shown authorizing a person with a revoked driver's license to drive for essential purposes related to any of the following: employment or maintenance of a person's household. Okay.
Okay. But that's during a
Interesting.
suspension. That's during a suspension. I don't know if that's
It
the
was
original.
not immediately clear if anyone had notified Harris of the outstanding fee back in 2022. He paid it on Monday, a spokesperson for the Secretary of State previously confirmed, and Simpson said Wednesday that the friend of the court had immediately sent over the notice of clearance taking the suspension privileges off his driving record. The judge emphasized that no clerical error had been made either by his office, the Pittsfield office, or Pittsfield Police, or Saginaw County authorities. It was a failure on the part of Mr. Harris to do certain things. It really wasn't, though. What? You guys also bear a lot of blame here. Like, this has
Well,
been such a
okay. I think Charlie's about to go off on something that's incorrect because what the driving privileges thing is, he never had a license. But if this is what I think it is, the privilege to drive may be something like where you may not have a driver's license, but it may be something Michigan has, and I'll see if I can figure this out. Maybe something that Michigan has that will allow you to drive in a very limited capacity, such as something for the household like groceries, or to go to a job, or in the case on the original video we saw, going to a doctor. Maybe that is something that exists, and apparently from some previous court case, I guess you know, I guess the judge, maybe that rescinding of it back in 2022 was contingent upon him paying a $120 fine, which he would have known about in court. When he went to court on this issue, he would have been told, you need to pay a $120 fine. And he didn't. And it's possible he may have been playing a pass the blame thing to make it seem like he's totally innocent. But it sounds like he had this $120 fine that he had to pay in order for his driving privileges to be reinstated. And he didn't do it. So that aspect of it, that's going to be on him. Because it's not like this judgment was made without him being present. This judgment, along with the fine, would have been made with him standing right in front of the judge being told this is what's going on. So let's see where Charlie goes with it, but I don't think Charlie's going to be right on this.
Fucking convoluted series of like twists and turns and tubes to go through. It's not all on him. Driving privileges, driver's license, fucking. It's all over the place. I'm gonna do the Summer Game Fest stream Friday. Yes, I am. I will be. It's crazy just how inefficient all of the systems are. It's so crazy. How could there not just be
Wait,
like one simple protocol?
hang on. There's a Oh, okay. Since he was committed to resolving the case, now, yeah, public defender. So he had a public defender. He did not have a private attorney. Public defenders are notoriously overworked to the extreme, which is probably why his public defender, if it's the same one that was representing before, she probably did not have time to do a deep dive into this because while she's handling his case, she's probably handling a minimum 100 more cases that week that she had to process through the court. So she probably, she was reliant upon him to be to give her the correct information so she could proceed with this case. So if she was not provided with the correct information by her client, I can't fault her too much because public defenders are grotesquely overworked. And that's probably why his lawyer didn't discover this. She found out that there's only so many hours in the day. And she probably didn't know. See, Harris was in the process of procuring his license and has his permit test scheduled for Thursday. Once he gets his permit, he's got to drive for at least 30 days. Apparently, he knows how to do that part. Sunny. Mike, let's see. One of the parts was jovial, particularly when stressed that wasn't his fault, that he was now a meme. I'd be seriously using that in court. My client didn't start the hoopla. Perhaps he made some comments, but he didn't start the hoopla whatsoever. That was someone that was outside of his control. And then we got to the.
It's crazy just how inefficient all of the systems are. It's so crazy. How could there not just be like
Simpson, the judge, seemed to take exception to this. You say it wasn't started by him. He said later, oh, it certainly was. It certainly was when he made his first statement to WXYZ. Judge added that the person Harris needed to blame for the kerfuffle was the person that he was staring at in the mirror.
One simple protocol. Do you have your license? No. Do you have driving privileges? Yes. Okay. Here's records of both. And then you work from that. It should not be this convoluted. It can't be. Why is there 4 different bodies here that this goes through? The fucking Saginaw BFF of the court, the Secretary of State, the Pittsfield Police, and what was the other one?
Michigan Secretary of State.
There's so fucking many. It's just needlessly confusing.
Just own it. This is the judge. Just own it. Once you own it, then it becomes a whole lot easier to move forward. Brought the fact that Harris had a warrant out for his arrest. If Charlie will scroll down.
Charlie, most of the military still runs on XP. Let that sink in. Not only the military, most hospitals still run off of Windows XP.
Because Windows XP is why it's last good.
Always will. Harris's attorney, public defender Dionne Webster Cox, who appeared alongside him in the WXYZ interview, said that she was committed to resolving the case and that Harris was in the process of procuring his license. She said he had his permit test scheduled for Thursday. Once he gets his permit, he's got to drive for at least 30 days. Apparently, he knows how to do that part. After cracking a smile. Other parts of the hearing were less jovial, particularly when Webster Cox stressed that it wasn't Harris's fault that he was now a meme. My client didn't start the hoop. Oh my God, they're dropping hoopla back and forth in here. It's a real Thunderdome.
Dear God, the mouths on these people dropping hoopla left and right.
Now the public defender's dropping hoopla. You can't just invoke the power of that word. It's like Voldemort's name. It's an ancient incantation. Perhaps he's made some comments, but he didn't start the hoopla whatsoever. That was someone that was outside of his control.
Well,
Simpson
and the
seemed
judge
to take exception to this.
And the
You say
judge
it wasn't
ones up
started by him.
it with the
Oh, it
kerfuffle.
certainly was. It was certainly when he
He's
made his
one-upping
first
him.
statement to WXYZ. The judge added that the person Harris needed to blame for the kerfuffle. This is so unserious.
I mean, chat, just be glad that
This
no
one
one
wasn't a
pulled the
quote, though, so this
shenanigans
was
out of
just
their
from whoever
pocket.
wrote the article,
Then we'd
dropped
be
it
in
a
a
meme
nuclear war at
kerfuffle.
that point.
It is actually a children's book here. These are Rick and Morty words. Was the person that was staring at him the person that he was staring at in the mirror. He later added, "Just own it. Once you own it, then it becomes a whole lot easier just to move forward." What do you know?
Then brought the fact that Harris warrant out his arrest,
Becomes a whole lot easier just to move forward.
from a separate traffic stop in Allen Park in 2015, when he'd again been cited for driving without a license. Simpson acknowledged that he didn't know whether this had been mentioned to Harris after his pre-trial this month. I really don't care whether he was or not. All I know is that this was back in mid-May and it wasn't taken care of. Simpson then had a court officer escort Harris out of the room. On that record show, Harris has since posted bond in the case, and his next date for that traffic stop is August 13th, while his next hearing in the Byron case is slated for August 7th.
What do you know about being a meme, Judge Simpson? Your Honor?
So, yeah,
What experience do you have there?
Here's the thing. From the records, this is not his first rodeo with traffic issues. So, and I guess he still had this warrant out for his arrest from something stemming back from 2015. So, wow. I mean, this guy's getting arrested for traffic stuff left and right. Like he is like a habitual offender on this. He knows that he's not supposed to be driving. He's been arrested multiple times, but he keeps doing it. And I mean, literally all he's needed to do during this entire time Just go get his driver's license. It's not that hard. Billions of people do it. But for some reason, and based on the look of him, I'm going to guesstimate his age to be high 30s or low 40s. And and only now that this is made national news is he suddenly going, "Oh yeah, I'll go get my driver's license now." Like, why didn't you do this before? He's only going to get his driver's license because now everybody knows about him. And all the police know about him. So you can bet that the police are going to be looking for him as well. And that's the only reason why he's getting a license. I'd say if this case had not spoke the national attention that it did, he might not have ever applied for his license. Ever. He might have just continued to keep doing what he's doing because kind of like the first video we saw, he's expecting to just get, assembly lined through the process and just be told, okay, pay your fine and time suspended, time served. Which, if he hadn't shown up to that Zoom call driving the vehicle, that may have been exactly what happened. And that's the thing. It was like, in the end, it was his own stupid decisions that brought about all of this. All of this is from his own decisions. Had he not shown up to a court Zoom call for a traffic violation while driving, none of this would be happening right now. And he probably would have just continued on doing what he does.
The judge then brought up the fact that Harris had a warrant out for his arrest stemming from a separate traffic stop in Allen Park in June 2015 when he'd again been cited for driving without a license. Simpson acknowledged that he didn't know whether this had been mentioned to Harris after the pretrial hearing last month. I really don't care whether he was or not. All I know is that was back in mid-May, and it hasn't been taken care of. Simpson then had court officer escort Harris out of the room. Online records show that Harris has since posted bond in the case. Next court date for the traffic stop is August 13th, while the next hearing in this viral case is slated for August 7th. Mark your calendars. We got another summer blockbuster coming up for this case. I'm sure there's going to be another twist to it where it turns out that Harris is actually like a deep covert operative here.
No, Charlie. It's going to be revealed that he's an alien lizard man, and he was undercover here to take over the planet for his, for the alien overlords. That's the plot twist.
Yeah, I don't know what else can come from this in terms of like shocking twists. I think it's all that's got to be the last bomb that drops, right? Surely there's no more. So I imagine come August it'll just be standard court proceedings, probably nothing crazy. But who knows? This is becoming quite the high-profile case.
Yeah. Now, let me find out. Let me see where. Okay. Let me find out what the terminology they use there. Okay. Okay. Privilege to drive in the state. So first and foremost, let me give Charlie a like. And then okay. So this is from try this. Privilege to drive. Let me see if that comes up. Yeah, see, something is getting convoluted here. Something is not making sense because they almost like I'm guessing here because this is convoluted bureaucratic gobbledygook here. It almost sounds like it really does feel like he was like given some kind of fake license in the system just so the license could be revoked, but he still had this quote unquote privilege to drive because you need to have because as I understand it, the whole privilege to drive thing stems from you actually possessing a license. And should something occur where your license is suspended, be it for whatever reasons, the child support thing, DUI, what have you, you can petition the court for a privilege to drive, like a limited privilege to drive in the event, for going to work or, medical needs or household needs. You just cannot drive outside of that. But you still need to have a driver's license in the first place to do it. So I'm not even sure what that judge was talking about, saying that he had a privilege to drive and talking about if he had a Kentucky license and his privilege to drive in Michigan was suspended, then he could drive in Kentucky, but not in Michigan. You still need a driver's license to do that in the first place. So I'm just incredibly confused about what that judge was even talking about, because that makes no sense to me whatsoever. I'm just thoroughly confused by that. So it answered a few questions, but raised a whole bunch more aside. And I'm just a little bit gobsmacked because I don't know what the hell's going on. So, okay.